In this world, everyone hunts the gods, but I trail behind them, scavenging divine remains. This is an era where gods walk the earth. Once they were immortal and indestructible to mortals, until one day, mortals awakened their sequence abilities. Some awakened the power to conceal themselves, the Shadow Blade sequence. Others awakened the ability to mimic anyone, the Faceless sequence. But I awakened an unprecedented power, the Godfall path. I grow stronger by devouring gods to avoid being dissected and turned into evolution serum. I hide my identity and scavenge divine corpses to eat. The entire sanctuary is covered by a shield dome that keeps gods out. Fortunately, at the sanctuary exits, god hunter squads clear out the surrounding gods daily. Maybe I can find some divine remains there. On Saturday, I head to the largest sanctuary exit nearby. Right now, Sanctuary 7's exit is packed with crowds, and over a dozen helmeted figures in thermal suits stand before the blast doors. At this moment, 2 awakened who just finished their hunt remove their helmets, ready to return. Hundreds of ordinary people immediately swarm them. I try to push through the crowd, looking for any dropped divine remains, but get shoved aside instantly. No choice but to wait at the outer edge. By nightfall, I finally reach the front. Unfortunately, Coalition Council inspectors already took all the remains. I find nothing, just as I think today is a complete loss. I spot a wriggling ear, falling from an awakened backpack. My eyes light, up at the writhing ear. I swallow hard, ready to grab it when no one's looking, but a janitor sweeps it into his dustpan and walks away. Seeing this, I immediately follow the janitor away from the exit. Eventually, I watch him dump it into a dumpster at the street corner. After the janitor leaves, I rush over excitedly and open the dumpster, but when I see what's inside, I freeze. It's completely full of divine remains. A feast fit for kings. Scanning the dumpster packed with divine remains, I lick my lips. I really am the chosen one. After confirming no one's around, I pick up the writhing piece on top. Its disgusting appearance mixed with the bloody stench would make even Hannibal cook first. But to get stronger, I force down the nausea and shove it in my mouth. After chewing, I swallow the pulpy mass. Despite its revolting appearance, the taste is surprisingly decent. Better than school cafeteria food. If all divine remains taste like this, I won't hold back. I grin greedily and dive into the dumpster, devouring ravenously. I feast heartily. Strangely, no matter how much I eat, I never feel full. Perhaps this relates to my sequence ability. Over an hour later, I finally finish the entire dumpster of divine remains. At that moment, a notification sounds in my mind. Godfall path sequence promoted to level 2. Skill acquired. Devour. Digest raw divine flesh. Skill acquired. Fury for 10 minutes. Strength, agility, and physical endurance triple. No pain felt during this period. Finally, unlocking. Fury greatly enhances my combat ability. This means I can join god hunter squads to hunt gods. After all, dumpster diving isn't a long-term solution. But the biggest problem is I can't let anyone know about my Godfall path. I need to find a sequence I can pass off as my own. Just then, messy footsteps approach from behind. A drunk staggers toward me. If this drunk notices the dumpster's unusual state, the area will be locked down quickly. I need to leave. No time to wipe off the blood. I quickly stuff over a dozen divine remains into my backpack. I bolt away with the backpack. Thankfully, it's just a drunk. If I get caught with a backpack full of divine remains, I'd have no defense. Clutching the blood-soaked backpack, I weave through dark alleys, planning to run straight home. However, just as I turn into a dark alley, things suddenly go wrong. A knife flies from the corner, aimed at my right eye. Fortunately, my agility far exceeds normal humans. I dodge instantly. 3 figures emerge. From the corner, faces mocking. Who'd think sleeping here would deliver easy prey right to us? Must be our lucky day, brothers. I ask coldly. What do you want? What do we want? Isn't it obvious? We're robbing you. I have no money. My anxiety spikes. The missing divine remains will be discovered any moment. I need to leave this district fast. One of them pushes back his greasy bangs, smirking. No money? Fine. Just leave the backpack. These 3 are after my backpack. I glance at the backpack in my arms, covering the blood seeping through, thinking, this is bad. There's nothing valuable in this backpack, but I can't give it to you. Nothing valuable? Then open it and show us. You're running through these alleys like you're fleeing for your life. Must be hiding something precious in that bag, right? Leave the stuff. We 3 can pretend we never saw you. Otherwise, you'll get a beating. Even if you escape, we can report you to the police. When you turned in, the street light caught your face. We've memorized it. Hearing this, my feet freeze mid-escape. These 3 have seen me. That means risk of exposure. If they really report me, won't everything be for nothing? Suddenly, killing intent rises in my heart. The murderous gleam in my eyes is immediately caught by these criminals hardened by years in the underworld. Boss, this kid's eyes look like he wants to kill. Kill. This broke kid. If he's thinking murder, that bag must hold a fortune. Then let's do him in and take the riches ourselves. With that, all 3 pull out knives and lunge at me. Originally, it was just a thought, but now fate wants you dead. You can't blame me. I throw a straight punch, rapidly striking the nearest man's face. When my fist connects with his nose bridge, my knuckles clearly feel the crisp snap. The man's feet leave the ground. He flies 7 or 8 meters before landing, rolling several more feet on the stone pavement before stopping. The other two see this, trembling all over. They instantly realize they provoked and awakened, but fear aside, neither retreats. At this point, it's kill or be killed. Begging won't help. The only way to survive is to kill him. The two charge even more frantically, stabbing wildly with their knives. I step back with my left leg and sweep my right, kicking directly at one man's waist. More crisp bone-breaking sounds travel up my leg. The man folds in half at a grotesque angle, swinging through the air with my leg and crashes into the last charging thug. Without hesitation, I leap forward to the dazed and confused thug, raising my fist again. Mercy, I'll give you all my money. At this point, survival instinct makes the thug beg for his life. I don't give him another chance to speak. My fist slams into his temple, shattering his skull. Fool, after killing you, the money's mine anyway. After killing 3 people in succession, my killing intent fades, quickly replaced by inexplicable emptiness. I sigh with a sense of melancholy. Never thought I'd actually kill, but it was self-defense. Nothing more to say. Looking at the 3 corpses, I suddenly remember reading online that some sequence can read a dead person's final memories. To avoid exposure, I wrap my fist in one man's clothing and smash all 3 heads to pieces. After sweeping the scene and carefully cleaning the blood, I take all the money from their clothes. I stuff the 3 bodies into a dark abandoned warehouse. I light a fire, burning the 3 corpses and my bloodstained jacket, along with them. This prevents any awakened from tracking me through the scent on the bodies. After confirming the flames engulf all 3, I flee the scene at full speed. Finally arriving home safely, I find a deserted spot, devour all the divine remains in my backpack, and burn both the backpack and jacket. Then I start counting the money I took from those 3 thugs. After counting, I freeze. Among the pile of copper coins, there's a gleaming silver one. A silver coin is worth 10,000 copper coins. These thugs were loaded. 3 criminals carrying a fortune. How could they dare report me to the police? Wouldn't that be mutual destruction? Great. On top of stealing divine remains, now there's a murder case. But I don't dare spend this silver coin either, since an orphan who doesn't work. Where would I get this kind of money? Therefore, I must find an awakened identity I can openly use. No matter what, I can't reveal my true identity. Thinking this, I take 20 copper coins and head to the internet cafe. I enter the forum, searching for useful information. Awakened need to drink evolution serum from the Administration Bureau to level up. I only need to eat gods to advance. Isn't this like having cheat codes? If I want to register at the Awakened Administration Bureau, I must find a sequence to disguise myself with. Finally, my eyes lock on one sequence. Phantom Walker Level 1 Assassination Apprentice Skill Speed Surge doubles agility for 5 minutes, but leaves the body weak for 30 minutes afterward. My Fury skill perfectly covers this assassin ability. Just then, noisy voices come from outside the cafe. Officer, I run a small business. I can't handle this kind of inspection. Could it be? I just thought about possible exposure, and now the police are here. Whether they're here for me or not, I must respond. In my panic, I quickly delete the browser history and find a way to disguise myself. The moment I finish, 7 or 8 officers enter the cafe. Everyone step away from your computers immediately. Hands on your heads, crouch to the side. Hurry, what are you doing? Still at your computer? Hands up. An officer raises his gun and shouts at me. I frantically raise my hands. Officer, I was the officer rushes over, looks at my screen, then says with disgust, watch less of this stuff. You're young. Too much indulgence will cause problems. With that, the officer leaves. Then these 7 or 8 officers move to every computer, checking browser histories and content. After searching for a while, the officers find 2 young men conducting dark web transactions and take them away. But the officers' expressions are serious, indicating these weren't their real targets. The relief of surviving this close call feels amazing. I exhale deeply and decide to continue browsing the forum. Then a dialog box appears on screen. My eyes widen instinctively. My back goes cold, hair standing on end. Manager's friendly reminder. The person the officers were looking for is you, right? Keep watching your stuff. When you're done, don't leave. Wait for me in the alley behind the cafe. Hours later, the greasy middle-aged manager appears in the narrow alley. Little brother, the officers were after you because you killed someone, right? Even if you don't say it, I know. Last time you came, you checked the Awakened forum. And this time again. Then police came, and you quickly deleted your history. I immediately guessed you killed someone. My demand is simple. I won't tell anyone about your business, but you give me a silver coin as hush money. His pudgy face trembles with excitement, celebrating his brilliant deduction. I chuckle softly, shooting him a piercing glare. If you know I killed someone, why aren't you afraid I'll kill you too? The manager wipes cold sweat from his face and says, I've already written an email to report you with your close-up photo from the surveillance footage attached. This email will be sent to the police station's inbox tomorrow at 3 o'clock in the morning. Every day, I reset the timer, delaying it by one more day. If I die, you'll be exposed, too. If you don't believe me, try it. Kill me right now. Before next week. Give me 1,000 copper coins first, or I'll tell the police. The manager smiles smugly, revealing 2 rows of incomplete yellow teeth. I don't respond. I simply turn and leave the alley. Suddenly, the manager realizes he doesn't know my name. By the way, I'm Dennis Liu. What's your name? I continue walking silently, still not answering. A dead man doesn't need to know my name. After leaving the alley, I hide in the shadows, quietly following Dennis all the way until he gets home. I memorize his address before leaving quickly. Killing Dennis is easy, but keeping my secret from being exposed after killing him is tricky. The next day, I take a detour past the internet cafe, glancing at Dennis from afar at the counter. Then I head straight to school. Today doesn't seem like a good day to kill Dennis. At the school entrance, to my surprise, the principal is having some kind of fit today, conducting inspections at the gate with several bootlicking administrators behind him. Since I burned my backpack yesterday, naturally, a teacher stops me. Why don't you have a backpack? Don't you do homework on weekends? The worse the school, the more rules. Facing this teacher's harsh questioning, just as I'm about to retort, a girl's voice suddenly sounds behind me. Teacher Marcus went to a classmate's house with me this weekend for tutoring and left his books there. I told the classmate I'd bring his books today. I turn around and discover my rescuer is Jade Sterling. I don't know why she's helping me, but I nod along. Then I turn and walk into school, but Jade quickens her pace and catches up. Marcus, shouldn't you say something to me? I look at Jade's bright smile and say emotionlessly, you think I should say thank you? Jade's smile freezes for a moment. Then she switches to a coquettish tone. I didn't treat you well before. You helped me. I helped you. Let's call it even. Okay. I really love seeing you care about me. You're my motivation every day. I've realized I can't live without you. Then she puts on what she thinks is a captivating smile. This clawing confession was planned by Jade and her friends over the weekend based on what they know about Marcus. They're sure it'll work on him. Even I find it amusing. In my memories, I'd rather go hungry every day than not bring Jade breakfast. I did all her homework, too. In the end, Jade took the breakfast I gave her and gave it to Brandon Young from the next class to curry his favor. Jade, I've always wanted to ask you something. Why do you keep targeting me specifically? Are there no other guys willing to be your dog? Jade didn't expect Marcus to say this. She's speechless. What? What do you mean? If you want Brandon, work for it yourself. Stop trying to use me as a stepping stone, okay? You want to bring him breakfast, but make me prepare it. You want to compare answers with him, so you make me write them. Everything needs me to do it. Why don't I just marry him myself? With these ruthless words, I expose Jade's scheme, making her panic. Shock appears on her face. Jade, stop bothering me. Find another dog to do your homework. If you bother me again, you wouldn't want Brandon to know about this, would you? Watching Jade's expression change, growing uglier by the second, I feel incredibly relieved. This time, my words finally worked. After school that afternoon, I don't rush home. Instead, I go to the library for my work-study job. What I don't know is that Jade and her friends secretly follow me. Jade, you really want to follow him? With so many of us, once we leave school, he'll definitely notice. I didn't compare answers with Brandon today and didn't bring him breakfast. Brandon's already ignoring me. If I find who snitched, I'll teach her how to talk. I never imagined I'd be watched while working at the library. While organizing books, I notice a girl by the shelves flipping through a practice book. I politely approach to remind her about closing time. When our eyes meet, my gaze pauses for a moment. Sorry for interrupting your closing. The girl bows to me and Mrs. Rose, then hurries away with her backpack. I only think this girl is very pretty, but can't recall who she is. Mrs. Rose sighs. Vivian is such a good child, studies well, and so obedient. I wish my granddaughter could be this well-behaved. Only then do I realize it's Vivian Chun. That name is legendary. She tops her grade in every exam. Beautiful and brilliant. The school's acknowledged beauty. Many guys pursue her, but she politely rejects them all. Like me, she comes from a poor family and lives with her grandmother. But what does any of this have to do with me? After leaving the library, I first go to the restroom behind it. Just as I finish and prepare to leave, I suddenly hear slapping sounds from next door. Talk. Was it you? You which who told Marcus about me and Brandon? I told you I don't know Marcus. I don't know Brandon and I don't know you. Still talking back. Marcus only spoke to you and Mrs. Rose today. If it wasn't you, was it that old woman? Jade, don't believe her. Girls like Vivian, who are smart and pretty, are all vicious. They seduce men just because they're popular. I don't want anything to do with Jade. But Vivian was innocently dragged into this because of me. Morally, I have to step up. I wash my hands and walk to the girls' restroom. Jade, making such a scene, can't even take a piss in peace. Do you want me to tell Brandon everything before you're satisfied? Jade freezes for a moment, then calms down. Marcus, don't go too far. I haven't bothered you. Why do you care so much? I ignore her and pull Vivian out. She slapped you twice, right? Vivian looks at me without any gratitude. After all, I'm the one who dragged her into this. The moment I finish speaking, I slap Jade twice across the face. Everyone freezes. Vivian stares at me in shock, seemingly unable to understand this unfamiliar male classmate's actions, not expecting me to be so decisive. Marcus. Jade covers her face, glaring at me furiously. Stop barking. You and I are even. And now your debt to Vivian is paid. Understand? A vicious gleam appears in Jade's eyes. Marcus, you'll regret this. Hearing this, I suddenly remember Jade's uncle is some kind of thug. I'm not afraid of street punks, but Vivian might get hurt. I can't watch Vivian and Jade forever. Then I suddenly think of a perfect solution. Jade, I'll go to the internet cafe and write everything about you and me in an email scheduled to send to Brandon's inbox next Monday. If anything happens to me or Vivian, you can kiss Brandon goodbye. Jade originally planned to have her uncle teach Marcus and Vivian a lesson or even erase them from the sanctuary entirely, but Marcus just blocked that path completely. She rages. Marcus, I've never met anyone as vicious as you. Well, today's your lucky day. I snort, coldly, pulling Vivian away. Without speaking, I feel quite pleased. I don't know how many times today I've thought of Dennis. This is the first time I feel he's brought me some positive value. The next morning, leaving home, I once again detoured to the internet cafe entrance. This time, I discover it's not Dennis at the counter, but a bearded middle-aged man. The opportunity has come. I pull up my hoodie, avoid the cameras at the entrance, and wave to the bearded man at the counter, signaling him to come out. The man looks confused, but still comes out. When we reach the place where I talked with Dennis that night, I ask, "Are you the cafe owner?" One of the two people the police took from your cafe that day was my friend. He left something there. I want to check the surveillance footage. The cafe owner snorts. Kid, are you messing with me? You think you can just review surveillance footage whenever you want? What he left me is worth 20 silver coins. If I find it, I'll give you one. As I speak, I pull out a silver coin. This coin glowing with a dim white light under the stars. This immediately catches the internet cafe owner's attention. His eyes flicker twice, and he finally leads me to a dark storage room next to the cafe. All the surveillance footage is here. Help yourself. I hesitate for a moment, then nod and walk over to check the footage. I find the footage from that day and immediately frown. Why is there no surveillance from the morning of the 3rd? The cafe owner curls his lip. Electricity is so expensive. There's no way I keep those cameras running all the time. I usually turn them on once every few days. All right, I understand. Thank you. Don't mention it. If you need anything, just let me know. My name is Frank Wong. You can call me Frank. All right, Frank. I'll remember that. I'll report your cooperation. Don't worry. As long as I'm fine, you won't have any trouble. I leave the internet cafe with a faint smile. I set off toward Dennis Liu's place. I'm 99% certain I can deal with Dennis now. All the evidence points to one thing. Dennis is bluffing. The so-called surveillance screenshot doesn't exist at all. I can finally pass judgment on Dennis with confidence. I sprint at top speed toward Dennis's place and quietly approach his door. Garbage is piled up at the entrance. To fake a burglary, I don't break down the door violently. Instead, I use my sleeve to knock on Dennis's door. I lower my voice, pretending to be a man in his 30s. Neighbor, your garbage stinks. Move it away. Dennis's impatient voice comes from inside. Are you crazy? None of your business. The garbage isn't blocking anything. Just go your way. Seeing Dennis won't open the door, I shout directly. If you don't open up, I'll block you at this door. I don't believe you don't work. When you go to work, I'll complain to your boss. Hearing this, Dennis's confidence immediately weakens. All right. I'm scared of you. I'll throw out the garbage in a bit. Am I being too nice? In a bit. Now. Immediately. Fine. Wait a moment. I'll put on clothes and come out to throw it. Sounds of getting dressed. Dennis comes to the door and locks it. Just before he finishes speaking, he loses consciousness and passes out. I control my strength. The instant the door opens, I deliver an uppercut to Dennis's chin, knocking him out. Then I immediately slip inside and catch Dennis, preventing his bulky body from making noise that would alert the neighbors. After closing the door, I drag Dennis to the inner room in one smooth motion. After tying Dennis up, I gag him with his own stinking socks. Then I search the room. Dennis's home doesn't have much property, just a few hundred copper coins. I don't need this money, but I still have to take it to create the appearance of a burglary. After working for a while, muffled sounds come from behind. I turn around. Dennis has woken up and stares at me in terror. Dennis shakes his head desperately, trying to beg. Then his eyes turn vicious as if threatening. I say casually, I had a chat with Frank Wong today. Guess what? Dennis freezes. His eyes twitch constantly. Looking at my smile, it's as if he's seeing the Grim Reaper. I walk to the kitchen, taking out a jug of cooking oil and a knife. Greed comes with a price. I'm here to collect. Minutes later, seeing Dennis's body consumed by flames, I finally breathe a sigh of relief. I leave the apartment and shout downstairs, "Fire! Run for your lives." Then, to avoid leaving too much scent, here, I activate my fury skill and sprint at full speed, racing towards school as fast as possible. Near the school, I return to the main road, acting casual as I walk into campus. Thanks to my exceptional physical condition, plus Fury's triple agility boost, escaping from Dennis's place to near school takes only 5 or 6 minutes. Though it's a bit slower than my usual commute, it's acceptable. A nearly perfect alibi. I hope the police quickly classify this case as a burglary. In a few days, once things blow over, I should register at the Awakened Administration Bureau. Being blackmailed feels worse than suffocation. I must be more careful in the future. Can't let anyone catch me again. Arriving at school, I maintain a calm expression. No one could imagine that just over 10 minutes ago, I killed someone. In the afternoon, when I finish organizing the library shelves, Vivian, as usual, studies in the library until closing, so I leave school with her. We reach yesterday's fork in the road. When it's time to part, Vivian says, goodbye. Just as she's about to turn away, I grab her backpack strap. I smile slightly, but my eyes are cold. I'm walking you home today. Vivian doesn't understand why Marcus has suddenly changed, becoming so proactive. No need. Without letting her protest, I pull her hand and head toward her home. Vivian frowns and tries to break free, but hears me say in a very low voice, I warned Jade yesterday. Didn't expect her to follow again today. Now Vivian is completely shocked. She looks back frantically, but sees nothing. My home isn't that way, Vivian says, somewhat frightened. I weave left and right through the alleys, then look back at her and smile. You want me to kill someone at your doorstep? Vivian's eyes widen in shock. She thinks I'm joking, but my icy gaze just now makes her realize I might be serious. No, Marcus. Shouldn't we talk things out with Jade and them? Classmates don't need to fight and kill. If it were Jade following us, I just slap her twice and send her away. It's not Jade. Then who? I glance back with a contemptuous smile and continue pulling Vivian forward. She also looks back. At this moment, she suddenly notices that from the alley they just passed, 7 or 8 dark figures suddenly emerge. The shadows hold weapons from their shapes, iron rods, and short blades. Vivian immediately looks up at me in panic. They are probably Jade's uncle. Her uncle is a well-known thug in the area. He's killed before. Why is her uncle following us? I think for a moment to kill us both. They'll probably beat me then kill me. As for what they'll do to you, Vivian immediately covers her collar. But why? Why kill us? You heard what I said to her yesterday, right? Because of her thing with Brandon. Who exactly is Brandon? Just a regular guy? But his uncle isn't awakened, so he's been rising lately. Jade wants to cling to Brandon's coattails and live the rich wife life. But didn't you say you set up a scheduled email to stop her? I smile slightly at Vivian. I lied to her. Internet cafe fees are expensive. Where would I get that money? She probably realized that, which is why she sent her uncle to deal with me. Vivian is completely stunned. She glances at the figures closing in behind them and says desperately, then we were going to die here. Getting you involved in this is my fault, so I'll handle this. My smile carries a hint of aggression and danger. You can keep a secret, right? Vivian doesn't understand what Marcus means, but nods anyway. Seconds later, 5 or 6 burly men with knives and clubs catch up. The lead man, covered in tattoos, looks at me and smiles. Run, why don't you? Why'd you stop? Thought you were good at running. I say disdainfully, already at the destination. Why would I keep running? Destination? What destination? The thugs look around and discover this is an abandoned old wooden mansion. The tattooed man asks, what's special about this place? This place is very special, especially good for killing. The men startle first, then mocking smiles appear on their faces. Are you an idiot? First time I've seen someone about to be killed pick their own burial ground. But at this moment, I become a blur, kicking one man's chest. No one sees what happened. They only see their companions suddenly flying away. They look back in panic, seeing the man's chest collapse like a deflated ball. Before death, his face shows shock and terror. The dark environment blurs his features, making everyone feel inexplicable dread. Seeing their companion's condition, they immediately realize Marcus isn't awakened. How is that possible? How could a trash school like Penguin Academy have an awakened student? Before they can react, I swing another punch, hitting one man's throat like a cannonball. The man falls backward, but his head, like a puppet with cut strings, flies several meters away, landing right in front of Vivian. She screams and jumps back several steps. But I get the feeling Vivian's scream wasn't that scared. I don't dwell on this oddity. Looking at the remaining man, the tattooed man's pupils tremble. Cold sweat streams from his head. He stands frozen as if he's lost his soul. The 2 survivors besides the tattooed man immediately kneel. Please spare us. Spare us. We didn't know better. Give us a chance. It was all Vince Cruz who sent us. It has nothing to do with us. I ignore them completely, kicking both men in the jaw. They fly backward heads, hitting the ground first with 2 thuds, departing together for the afterlife. Only the trembling, speechless, tattooed man remains. I pat his shoulder and say with interest, you know about me and Jade, right? I could have called you uncle. Too bad. Vince immediately catches on, forcing an awkward, ingratiating smile. There's still a chance. Not too late. We can be family. Jade's immature. I'll teach her when I get back. I'll make sure she's sigh as if helpless. What's done is done. Why? Would an awakened like me gravel for this? Didn't you say Jade was your family's hope? Vince nods blankly, not understanding what Marcus means. With me around, your family has no hope. But I can show you a way forward. Please, please tell us. We'll do whatever you say. Rebuild your family in another world. I slap Vince across the face. His head spins a full 360. Then he collapses to the side. Don't worry. You won't be lonely on the road. In a while, when I'm free, I'll send your whole family down to join you. After dealing with everyone, I breathe a sigh of relief. I've killed again. How many is this? Can't remember. Doesn't matter. I look at Vivian standing at the edge of the courtyard and walk over. Vivian trembles all over and asks frantically, "You're actually an awakened then? Then have you figured out how to handle these bodies?" I didn't expect Vivian to ask this. Aren't you afraid I'll kill you too? Vivian seems not to have expected Marcus to ask this either, looking up at him with some confusion. Why would you kill me? Because you saw me kill. But Vivian looks innocent. If you wanted to kill me, you could have just let me go home alone. They would have done it. Why go through all this trouble? I nod. You're quite smart. First time I've seen someone stay this calm after witnessing murder. I throw the corpses into the well, hearing the dull thuds as they hit bottom. To avoid suspicion, I don't even take the money from their pockets. This is a dry well. I move a stone to cover it. That should do it. No one comes here anyway. Let's go. But Vivian says this will leave our scent here. If the police investigate, they might track us. What will you do? Burn it? This place is abandoned, so no one notices it. If you burn it, won't that attract attention instead? You don't have to burn to remove scent. Cafeteria food has a strong smell. You can scatter cafeteria food here and in the well. Before long, it'll naturally cover our scent. I nod, then look at her with confusion. How do you know these things? I like reading. I read it in books. Books have this kind of thing. What books do you read? 100 Ways to Commit Crimes Without Getting Caught. I take a fresh look at this delicate girl whose head only reaches my chin, marveling that appearances can be deceiving. Arriving home, Vivian takes several deep breaths to calm herself, then turns and opens the door. Grandma, I'm home. The moment she speaks, candles light up inside. But Grandma is old. Every day, before she comes home from school, she sits by the candles waiting, then lights them when she arrives. You are back. Why so late today? Yes, I'm back. I ran into something, so I'm late. Vivian walks to the kitchen and pours today's cafeteria food into a pot, making various sounds. Hearing Vivian busy in the kitchen, her grandmother's smile gradually fades, her face becoming bitter. She has someone else's scent on her and a faint smell of blood. Did she go kill with someone again? The next afternoon, I return to the internet. Cafe. I must register my awakened identity before the college entrance exam, so I can apply to awakened universities. I find Frank Wong and get straight to the point. I want to register a fake sequence with the Administration Bureau. What should I watch out for? After hearing this, Frank immediately averts his gaze. You're asking me? How would I know? I'm just a regular person. How dare I meddle in your business with the Bureau? I sit in a chair and cross my legs. You think that silver coin was easy money? Frank's worried brows furrow. He thinks for a moment, then grits his teeth. Fine, I'll tell you. But you absolutely cannot tell anyone. I heard the Bureau has methods to detect sequences. So, if you want to register with a fake one, you can't go directly. You need someone to help find someone? Who? My heart skips a beat. Someone inside the Awakened Administration Bureau dares help with fraud. Frank hesitates again, then says, I don't know who to find for help, but I roughly know who to ask about Bureau. Insiders, the blonde police officer, Detective Riley Morgan. 3 years ago, she came here and had me set up a computer with a hidden address. She chatted anonymously with someone on it about exactly this. She wanted that person to help her fake her identity. All right, I understand. Thank you. But I need one more favor. The next morning, officers arrive at the police station one by one. Riley is among them. Riley, looks like there's a letter for you. Riley takes the envelope and looks at the twisted handwriting, somewhat puzzled. When did this arrive? Not sure. Maybe last night, maybe this morning. Probably some kid's prank. Riley smiles, opens the envelope, and glances at it. Her smile immediately freezes. 7 o'clock in the evening. In a deserted alley, Riley looks wearily at the masked figure in the shadows. What do you want? I want you to introduce me to whoever faked your sequence. Riley's pupils suddenly dilate, but then she hears the masked figure speak. I advise you, take your right hand off the gun under your coat. Once the gun fires, you won't kill me, and there will be no turning back. Riley freezes. She didn't expect this person to see through her action. Such strong perception, but her hand remains on the gun. You're very confident, but I don't think you're faster than a bullet. Don't waste your effort. Before I came, I set up a scheduled mass email to the police station. Tomorrow morning, everyone at the police station will know your sequence is fake. If I can't return tonight to adjust the email's delay, you'll be exposed tomorrow. So, even if you kill me, it's pointless. What? Riley freezes. She didn't expect this masked person to have a backup plan. Now she truly panics. Besides, you can't kill me anyway. While Riley is stunned, I activate Fury, launching off the ground. When I stop, Riley's gun is already in my hand. I talked for so long, and you didn't believe me. Had to prove it with facts. Riley's eyes immediately fill with terror. I don't know who that person is. Another friend told me they could help me register a sequence. All I know is that the person is a regular user of the Ishiko virtual chat room. If you want to find them, enter the chat room 8 times, and that person will contact you. I've told you everything. Can you give me my gun back? I review Riley's words in my mind, look up at her, and shake my head. Getting your gun back is a different price. Tell me your real sequence. Dream on. Riley trembles with rage. Killing intent radiating. I worked so hard to become a police officer. You know how much I went through. You heartless demon. Do you have to destroy me before you're satisfied? Sequence. No matter how Riley rages and complains, I only coldly repeat my question. Riley's eyes are already bloodshot from her frenzy. A final tear slides down her cheek. Reveler. My sequence is Reveler. After speaking, she shows a dapering smile, seeing her spirit seemingly drained. I understand why Riley chose to hide her identity. The Reveler is most famous for its level 1 skill, Euphoria Domain, and Euphoria Domain works not only on humans, but also on gods. Therefore, Reveler Awakened have only 2 final fates. Playthings for the Sanctuary's upper-class elite or bait for hunting gods outside the Sanctuary. Either option means endless suffering. So, Reveler Awakened can only hide their identities and live as ordinary people. Once discovered, it's the point of no return. But I don't stop there. No one's on the street now. Use Euphoria Domain. On me. Do you have to push me to the brink? I've told you everything. What more do you want? Riley sobs bitterly, but I remain emotionless. Use Euphoria Domain. I must confirm you're really a Reveler, or I'll leave with the gun. Fine, you win. Riley wipes away her tears and straightens her messy blonde hair. I'm not a Reveler. How did you figure it out? Wasn't my crying convincing enough? My sequence is Colossus. As she speaks, she shows her hand. I don't know what she does, but her palm swells instantly covered in armor. Then it deflates back to normal. Now can you give me my gun back? Wait 10 minutes, then use Colossus again. I need to confirm you're a real Colossus sequence and not just a faceless who happened to mimic the Colossus skill. If I remember correctly, faceless can't mimic the same skill consecutively. Riley's somewhat relaxed smile vanishes instantly. You're really persistent. You're right. I'm a faceless. I know it. Finally got it out of her. Almost fooled. Me. You're smart, but be careful. Don't fall into Victor's hands, or I'll be implicated, too. Following Riley's method, I successfully contact the agent. Just as I'm about to leave, Frank's shout suddenly comes from outside. Officer, it's so late. My cafe is about to close. Why are you here again? The police are here for a raid. Frank loudly alerts me. I immediately understand and quickly clear the browser history. But before I can think of a cover, the storage room door opens, and it's not Frank, but a silver-haired elder in plain clothes wearing a scarf and smoking a cigar. Soon, several more people enter, all in police uniforms. Detective Victor, why is he here? Isn't Victor the detective Riley warned me about? The detective leading a late-night cafe raid. Is it about the 3 bodies in the alley, the stolen divine remains, or both? Don't move. Victor doesn't answer him, but issues a command to me. I obediently take my hands off the mouse and keyboard, leaving a desktop with no active processes. Victor looks at the computer, sees the cleared history, and his gaze at me instantly sharpens. What's your relationship with Frank Wong? We're friends. I answer haltingly, appearing very guilty. Victor takes another puff of his cigar and exhales condescendingly. What kind of friends? I glance at Frank guilty. He gives me money after we meet. Gives you money after meeting? After hearing my words, everyone freezes. Even Victor's gaze pauses. They all immediately look at Frank with extreme disgust and revulsion. Frank is also stunned as if struck by lightning, becoming a soulless shell. What? What do you mean? Looking around, he sees Victor and the other officers all staring coldly at him, instantly filled with innocence and anger. His face reens. Don't believe him? He's just a poor kid. What would I want from him? This is slander. Absolutely ridiculous. I relax slightly inside. Frank really is a shrewd one. He immediately understands my intention. The more desperately Frank explains, the more everyone believes my story. All the officers express sympathy for my experience and condemn Frank's actions. Victor stubs out his cigarette in a water glass and lifts his hand from the desk. Go on, go home and rest. With that, Victor leaves the storage room and the other officers follow. As agreed, I register a sequence through the agent. This proves my sequence is now registered. So, my dear principal should already know I've awakened. If so, tomorrow I can do whatever I want. The next day, I arrive at school full of anticipation. Today the principal is once again at the school entrance, but not for inspections. I walk forward and see the red banner at the school entrance warmly celebrating our senior Marcus Kane becoming an awakened. The principal carefully examines the photo provided by the bureau, then looks at me immediately recognizing the student before him as Pingguan Academy's pride. Marcus Kane. Marcus, you're here. Congratulations. You've successfully awakened your sequence ability. The surrounding students burst into exclamations. That's Marcus Kane. Looks like he's not from a good family. Keep it down. He's an awakened. If he can awake, and do I have a chance to? The principal extends both hands to shake mine, but I hold a lunchbox in one hand and keep the other in my pocket, not giving him this face. The principal's expression freezes. He senses something is wrong, but doesn't know why, so he smiles awkwardly. Marcus, why don't you come to the principal's office for a chat? A teacher beside him bows and scrapes. Yes, Marcus, we've prepared some gifts to celebrate your sequence awakening. I turn my head and discover it's the grade director who gave me trouble that day. I ask coldly, do you remember me? He pauses, thinks for a long time, doesn't know when he interacted with me, and finally asks, Are you my student? I shake my head, doesn't remember. It's a small matter anyway. How could someone in power remember? But I still feel annoyed. With that, I swing my lunchbox and smack the grade director's face. The teacher flies 2 or 3 meters, crashing heavily to the ground. I look at the deformed lunchbox and casually toss it into the principal's arms. Give me a new one. With that, under everyone's astonished gazes, I walk into campus. Principal Chun, I'm here. The principal's eyes first show some despair, then immediately put on his trademark smile. Oh, young Marcus, what brings you here? Don't I need to take the awakened exam after the college entrance exam? But I don't know anything about it yet, so I'd like to use the desktop computer in your office. What do you say? Hearing this, Principal Chun pauses, not knowing how to respond. But I sit right next to Principal Chun without hesitation. Principal Chun, our school's moral education has been inadequate for years, making me rather short-tempered. You wouldn't want me causing more trouble before graduation, would you? Richard Chun wants to say something, but seeing my lawless attitude swallows it. Use it, but only for browsing. Nothing else. Fine. I skillfully open the Awaken Education forum and search for exam-related information. Richard Chun sighs, turns, and leaves the principal's office to find a quiet place to rest. I click on a pin thread. Awaken College Exam Guide. Awaken don't take the regular college exam. They have separate assessments, one special exemption, having a record of God hunting. God hunting points can replace exam scores and be submitted with your resume. Universities have this option. Thinking of my Godfall path's incredible combat ability, my blood boils. Doesn't this mean I have a chance to enter the best university? Then the computer suddenly beeps. Richard Chin forgot to close his email when he left. Curiosity makes me click the dialog box. It's a message from someone called Tinking. Richard, I miss you. Keep me company tonight. Along with an explicit video with a judgmental gaze, I watch the entire video, then close it and download the video. But when I open the download folder, I freeze. There are so many. Isn't this Richard Chun just a regular principal? Thinking this, I immediately open the Awaken Information section and type Richard Chun. Sure enough, in this world, there's only one reason to be popular with the opposite sex, being an awakened. Richard Chun is also an awakened, but he's been principal for so many years, and apparently no students know this. When I click on Richard Chun's profile, my eyes are immediately drawn to the first 2 lines. Richard Chun, sequence, spirit speaker, due to negligence in area 14,121. He caused dozens of deaths and was transferred from the Education Bureau. Now he serves as principal at Pingguan Academy. Principal Chun killed dozens and still got appointed as principal. What kind of ruthless background and powerful connections does that take? Suddenly, Marcus realizes he spoke too loudly to the principal just now, showing insufficient respect for an authority figure. Whatever, better to avoid this place from now on. Stick to bullying soft targets at Frank's. The principal is not someone to mess with. Marcus leaves his seat. Before he reaches the door, he hears Principal Chen's voice. Since you've already seen it, don't leave yet. Sit down and let's talk. At the same time, Marcus discovers his body suddenly loses control. His feet feel glued to the ground, unable to move an inch. Marcus, come back and have a seat. Marcus turns around. A colorful mask suddenly appears on Principal Chen's face. The principal actually dares to use sequence abilities on him. I can help you with God hunting and university admission. To be honest, I was once a vice dean at a university. After being falsely accused, I was transferred to this godforsaken place as principal. So, as I said, my sequence ability can help you hunt gods. My past experience can help you get into university. In return, I want you to help clear my name. Because of this false accusation, I lost my status, my power, and my wife left me. I hope you can help me turn things around. Turn things around? Marcus points at himself in disbelief. A student who just awakened sequence abilities. Though somewhat arrogant, he still knows his limits. Principal Chin thinks for a long time, then finally sighs. You have a point. A deal where benefits don't match the risks is doomed to fail. Let's change the approach. I'll help you complete some god hunting tasks first, and also provide as much support as possible for your university admission. If you still want me to clear your name, I'm afraid I can't help. No, that goal is too ambitious. Rome wasn't built in a day. Expecting you to do everything at once isn't realistic. Just help me with one thing first. Find someone with a faceless sequence. Marcus freezes when he hears Principal Chen's request. Why? The reason they could frame me for murder was because someone saw an awakened wearing a spirit speaker mask at the scene, and I was the only registered spirit speaker sequence awakened in that area. So, I suspect someone with a faceless sequence imitated my appearance and framed me. Marcus listens without committing either way. Completing this task is easy for him. Detective Riley Morgan, the blonde cop, has the faceless sequence. Principal Chun, I can agree to what you're asking, but whether this person can actually help you, I can't guarantee. Good. It's settled. Then you find me someone with the faceless sequence and leave the rest to me. I'm 90% certain that a faceless who hasn't disclosed their true sequence has an organization behind them. Then let's start discussing the god hunting matter. Principal Chun, I want to know how to choose a god hunter squad. I checked the Coalition Council's regulations. If an orphan like me dies outside the sanctuary, the death benefits go to the squad. I'm worried about picking a corrupt team that might kill me. Principal Chun smiles faintly. The best solution is to form a one-man squad. Plus, going solo doubles your points. I'll serve as your guarantor and come with you. The next day, Marcus suits up, shoulders his backpack, and leaves the academy with Principal Chun. Only now do the teachers and students at the academy learn that Principal Chun is actually an awakened. An hour later, as the heavy metal gate slowly pulls open, Marcus faces the world outside the sanctuary for the first time. Principal Chun, follow me. Marcus picks the direction with the fewest people and starts walking. Principal Chun pauses, but doesn't question it. He follows behind. For quite a distance, Marcus surveys the surroundings. There's truly no one around now. This should be far enough. He takes out a black glass bottle from his backpack and opens the cap. This is the divine lure powder he received from the front desk with his equipment. It has a strong attraction for smaller gods. After waiting over half an hour, he finally hears a commotion. Get ready. 10 seconds until it arrives. After this reminder, Principal Chun silently retreats to the back, keeping distance from Marcus so others won't claim Marcus doesn't meet the solo combat requirement. Suddenly, a black shadow half the height of a person leaps up and lunges directly at Marcus just as those hook-like claws are about to touch him. Marcus immediately pushes off and leaps high into the air. Then, he grips his demon-hunting dagger tight, and as his body descends, drives it straight toward the god's head. However, just as he's about to land the hit, a sharp crack sounds. This cockroach-like god's head suddenly rotates 180. Marcus even sees a sinister smile in those two disgusting round eyes. Marcus has no choice but to abandon the attack. Instead, he plants one foot on the Bladewing beetle's back shell and leaps again. Just as Marcus jumps away, two black sides suddenly extend from the Bladewing beetle's round eyes, scraping past his protective mask. After missing the strike, the Bladewing beetle tries to retract its sides. Marcus seizes the opportunity. Gripping the dagger, he stabs toward the Bladewing beetle's head and twists hard with both hands, drilling a hole the width of a steel pipe straight through skull and shell. The Bladewing beetle's dozen legs twitch twice more, then go still. Done. Marcus sits on the Bladewing beetle's back shell, catching his breath. If he devours his entire god corpse, he'll be unstoppable. No time like the present. Marcus cuts off the beetle's leg joint, hollows out the meat inside, and fashions it into a straw. He inserts it into the Bladewing beetle's body and sucks frantically at the green fluid inside. After about a minute of continuous drinking, the fluid runs dry. Marcus burps contentedly and wipes the fluid from his mouth. Then he closes his protective suit's visor and lounges lazily against the Bladewing beetle's shell. Not far away, Principal Chun has no idea what Marcus just did. He assumes Marcus is just amusing himself like a playful kid. After resting a moment, Marcus suddenly hears rustling sounds. Looks like more sandworm servants are approaching. Several hours later, Marcus surveys the god corpses littering the ground. He wipes the fluid hanging from his lips. At the same time, the sequence information in his mind changes. Godfall path advanced. Current sequence level 3. Bloodbound warrior gains new skill combat glory. After killing a god, all current abilities permanently increase by 100%. Skill cooldown 1 year. If Marcus uses Fury, his current power becomes 3 times normal. Add combat glory on top of that, and wouldn't that make him 6 times stronger? The sooner he uses it, the sooner the cooldown starts. Marcus immediately activates Fury, then activates combat glory. Taking aim at a centipede crawler, he stomps down. Thanks to his sequence level increase and Fury's boost, this stomp drives the ground down half a palm's depth. This centipede crawler doesn't even have time to struggle before dying instantly, without any pain. Next, Marcus feels a powerful force surge through his entire body, enhancing him in every way. He stomps on another nearby centipede crawler. This time, half his calf sinks into the ground, stuffing the last piece of loot into his bulging backpack. Marcus calls Principal Chun to head back to the sanctuary together. After waiting in line at the exit for over 40 minutes, it's finally Marcus' turn. When he unzips his backpack, everyone around widens their eyes and stops breathing. Crash! Shell discs tumble out of the backpack in a rush, scattering across the floor. Marcus smiles slightly. Please continue the inspection. An eerie silence falls over the surroundings. After a moment, someone finally realizes all these shell discs came from this one teenager, Marcus. Impossible. This many shell discs. Forget doing it alone. Even you and that person beside you working together couldn't get this much. Several onlookers who carried themselves like superior beings now turn red-faced and stamp their feet as if they want to tear Marcus apart. The bureau inspector also widens his eyes and asks with a frown, "How did you obtain this many shell discs?" The inspector's tone is cold and harsh, as if interrogating a criminal. Marcus replies calmly, "Does the Awakened Administration Bureau have regulations requiring us to explain the god-hunting process?" The inspector's expression turns very displeased, but he has no choice but to proceed with the inspection according to regulations. The entire process takes over 2 hours to complete. Finally, the inspector announces Marcus God-Hunter rewards. First, a total of 800 God-Hunter points. Since it's a solo squad, points are doubled, resulting in 1,600 points. Second, a total of 800,000 copper coins and 80 bottles of evolution serum. Because the reward amount is so large, please collect it at the nearby bureau office. Marcus' mouth nearly splits into a grin. 800,000 copper coins equals over 800 silver coins. He's become wealthy overnight. Just as Marcus picks up his now empty backpack and is about to turn and leave, someone suddenly calls out, "Wait." Marcus turns around and sees one of the people who questioned him earlier. "What do you want?" "I challenge you to the battle arena. I'll bet the privileges at Sanctuary 38,324 exit." Marcus looks confused and glances at Principal Chun. "What privileges?" Principal Chun explains, "The top 5-point accumulators at this exit have privileges. They get an extra 10% on rewards." "Are you insane? Why would I bet with you?" Marcus is about to leave, but the man blocks his way again. "I just checked your Phantom Walker sequence. If I lose, I'll give you a God Hunter weapon." Marcus is about to refuse when Principal Chun pulls him aside. "That's valuable. You can accept his challenge. God Hunter weapons are forged by Awakened with crafting sequences. Money can't buy these." Although God Hunter weapons are excellent, Marcus still can't accept. He can't expose his fake sequence just for one weapon. Just as he's about to refuse, Principal Chun whispers again, "Don't worry, no one watches the battle arena. Only the two of you will be inside. Whatever happens, no one will know." Marcus asks quietly, "If I kill him, will there be trouble?" "Once you enter the battle arena, life and death are your own responsibility." Marcus' eyes light up. Killing without consequences? Now he's interested. After signing the liability waiver, Marcus eagerly enters the sealed battle arena. Dax sneers and follows him in. The gate slowly closes, sealing the arena. Watching the closed gate, one spectator outside laughs. "That kid's finished." Dax has the same assassin sequence, but Dax is level 2. He'll kill the kid easily. Then he says to Principal Chun, "Buddy, you ready to send that kid to the hospital?" Principal Chun glances at the gloating man and says nothing. He thinks, "Hose, too much trouble. A funeral will do." In the arena, the moment the gate closes, Dax immediately draws the dagger from his waist, activates his assassin skill, and swings the blade toward Marcus' back. "You little insect, you'll pay for your ignorant recklessness." Dax has already planned how he'll torture Marcus next. However, just when he thinks this strike will definitely land, Marcus in front of him suddenly vanishes. How is this possible? As panic sets in, Marcus has already appeared to his side. Marcus' abilities already exceed ordinary Awakened, especially with Combat Glory doubling his attributes and Fury tripling them. The combination gives him 6 times the strength and agility. Dax has absolutely no way to defend. Dax's body can't keep up with Marcus' movements at all. From the corner of his eye, he sees Marcus' wild grin. At this moment, he immediately realizes Marcus isn't an assassin at all, and Marcus' sequence level is definitely higher than his. Realizing this, he immediately reaches for the surrender button on his bracelet, but Marcus won't give him that chance. Marcus' fist raises high. He whispers softly by Dax's ear, "Thanks." The fist drops, landing squarely on Dax's cheek. Dax doesn't even have time to feel anything. His field of vision instantly compresses, then suddenly disappears. Dax stops thinking. The battle arena gate slowly opens again. Others express surprise. "Only a few minutes finished already? Did Dax already defeat that kid? He clearly said he tortured the kid for a while. How did it end in 1 minute? If I'd known it would end so fast, I wouldn't have come. How boring. Wait, something's not right. Look." Following where that person points, everyone's eyes widen instantly. Under everyone's shocked gazes, Marcus walks out from the gate covered in blood, still gripping that dagger. The next morning, Marcus arrives at the classroom. Just as he sits down, 2 people appear in front of him. Marcus looks up. It's Jade Sterling and Brandon Yang. Jade holds onto Brandon's arm. Her gaze toward Marcus is still full of fear. Brandon says, "Marcus, you and my uncle are both awakened. Can you give me some face and stop holding a grudge against Jade?" Marcus glances at Jade with disdain. "This is the backup you found." Jade swallows. "Marcus, I really know I was wrong." Marcus looks at Brandon again. "Brandon, do you really understand? What kind of grudge exists between Jade and me? Brandon stiffens his neck. Whatever the grudge, we're all classmates. Can you give me some face and let her go? I really don't know who gave you the courage to talk to me like this. Your worthless uncle. Marcus pulls out his phone and tosses it to Brandon. You remember your uncle's number, right? Call him now. Otherwise, I'll slap you like I slapped the grade director. I keep my word. Brandon thinks of the grade director still lying in the hospital. A chill runs down his spine. He dials his uncle's number. Hello, uncle. It's me. Hearing the call connect, Marcus snatches the phone back. Hello, Director Yang. This is Marcus. Director Thomas on the other end immediately sounds cheerful. Oh, Marcus, I was just thinking of contacting you, and here you are calling me. What a coincidence. So what can I do for you? Nothing much. Your nephew Brandon wants to protect an enemy of mine. What do you think about that? Director Thomas pauses. I see. Please give the phone to Brandon. Brandon takes the phone and glances at Marcus. Uncle, don't listen to his nonsense. We're all classmates just messing around. What grudge? A cold voice comes from the other end. Cut ties with that person and apologize to Marcus. If Marcus doesn't forgive you, your family will have nothing to do with me anymore. Understand? Brandon hears his uncle's unquestionable tone and his face turns deathly pale. He can only respond meekly. Yes, uncle. I understand. Then he hands the phone back to Marcus, his eyes full of unwillingness and confusion. Marcus takes the phone. Hello, Director Yang. Thanks. Director Thomas immediately becomes enthusiastic again upon hearing Marcus' voice. Marcus, when are you free? Let's have dinner together. Sure. Since you're interested in having dinner, I'm happy to join. You pick the time and place. Marcus hangs up and glances at Brandon and Jade. Brandon, what do you say? Brandon immediately bows to Marcus. I'm sorry, Marcus. What happened before was my fault. I won't interfere in matters between you and Jade anymore. Hearing Brandon won't help her, Jade panics and grabs his arm, trying to stop him. Brandon knows he's guilty and doesn't dare look at Jade. He shakes off her hand and leaves the classroom. Marcus nods with interest. Jade, congratulations on finding a smart one. Enjoy your last moments of peace. Hearing this, Jade's complexion turns pale as plaster. Lifeless. Marcus is an awakened and an orphan with no weaknesses. Wait, weaknesses? He has no weaknesses himself, but the people around him do. Marcus seems to have a good relationship with that old woman, Mrs. Rose, at the library. And Vivian Shun, it must be. Thinking this, Jade's eyes light up. If she can get leverage over these two people, maybe she can make Marcus hesitate to act. After class, Marcus returns to the principal's office. Just as he's reviewing materials like usual, someone suddenly knocks on the principal's office door. Opening the door, a white-haired old man enters. Marcus, you're quite impressive. You fooled me. Marcus looks quietly at Detective Victor without responding. I've worked in the police department for 40 years. I've been fooled a total of 5 times. You're the youngest. Last time I saw you at the internet cafe warehouse, I truly thought you were a poor, struggling kid being scammed by that relatively wealthy, damned Frank. I never imagined a 17-year-old high school student could manipulate a street tough like Frank. Detective Victor muses to himself. Marcus remains silent. The moment Detective Victor learned he awakened as an awakened, all excuses became futile. The day before yesterday, while browsing the Awaken Information Hall, I saw your file. I was shocked. So, I immediately went to the internet cafe and asked Frank about you. Guess what he said? Detective Victor, is this what you came to ask me today? I don't think these matters have anything to do with me. Detective Victor clicks his tongue. You know Frank won't say anything, right? Detective Victor, I'm just a student. Your questions are too complex for me. I don't understand. The only people who knew about your internet cafe activities besides you and Frank were Dennis. You killed Dennis. And Frank refuses to talk. There's really nothing I can do about you. Marcus' expression remains unchanged, but his heart tightens. He didn't expect Detective Victor to connect Dennis's death to him. Besides, you have a solid alibi. I checked the academy surveillance that morning. You arrived at school less than 10 minutes after Dennis died, which means the killer wasn't you. A cunning glint suddenly flashes in Detective Victor's eyes. You should be asking me who Dennis is. Facing the detective's questioning, Marcus shakes his head. Since I know? Frank, how could I not know Dennis? Detective Victor clenches his fist slightly. You're very cautious, a natural-born criminal. Yes, as I said, you didn't have the time to commit the crime. Assuming you hadn't awakened your sequence abilities yet, Marcus says flatly. But I truly only awakened my sequence abilities last weekend. No, you could pretend you only awakened last weekend while actually using sequence abilities much earlier. Marcus shrugs. Detective Victor, your theory is interesting, but how would you prove it? Detective Victor sighs. Like I just said, you're very cautious. You burned Dennis's body. His brain is already cooked to mush. The eternal sequence ability death's echo can't work. Marcus says seriously, Detective Victor, everything you're saying is speculation without evidence. So please don't say I burned Dennis's body because I didn't do it. Fine, fine. Have it your way. Detective Victor smiles indifferently and continues. You shattered Dex's skull. His brains were scattered all over the battle arena. which also prevented us from reading his pre-death memories. Killing Dax was me losing control momentarily. I'm sorry. As for the other things you mentioned, Detective, I really don't know. Detective Victor takes out a cigar and lights it. You know, a few days before Dennis died, 2 stops away from Sanctuary 54,320 exit, we found 3 charred corpses. Hearing this, Marcus' entire body tenses involuntarily. He didn't expect Detective Victor to connect this case as, well. Detective Victor holds the cigar in his mouth, corners of his lips curling up, and continues leisurely. Those 3 not only had their skulls smashed, but were also burned afterwards. Sounds familiar, doesn't it? Marcus wants to stay calm, but sweat beads instinctively form on his forehead. He can only rely on silence to maintain his composure. Then, Detective Victor says the words Marcus least wants to hear. This murder occurred in a dumpster at Sanctuary 54,320 exit right after Divine remains mysteriously disappeared. Marcus, do you think there's any connection? Marcus controls his vocal cords to keep them from trembling and speaks slowly. But you have no evidence. Everything Detective Victor said is just your speculation. You're right. I lack evidence. But do you think I care about these people themselves? Detective Victor shakes his head with a smile. Whether Dax lives or dies, whether Dennis lives or dies, or those 3 nameless corpses, I don't care about any of them. How they died, what they experienced before death, none of that matters to me. From beginning to end, I'm only interested in one thing. Where you hid the divine remains you stole and what you did with them. That's what interests me most. Marcus, can you answer this question for me? I'm sorry. I still don't understand what you're saying, Detective Victor. Marcus is no longer panicked. Instead, he wears a smile. Since the detective has guessed everything, killing him is the only solution. Detective Victor says, Marcus, have you ever thought that you can't escape? I'm 90% certain your sequence is definitely not assassin. I don't know what method you use to fake your sequence to expose you. All I need to do is take you to the bureau and test your sequence ability again. Hearing this, Marcus freezes. He looks at Detective Victor somewhat incredulously and asks, I remember it being said that once an awakened sequence is determined by the bureau, it won't be tested again unless the awakened has been convicted. There's no way Detective Victor doesn't know this. Something's abnormal, like a mouse that's caught the scent of cheese. Marcus strokes the armrest of his chair and thinks deeply. Detective Victor, I just thought of something I need to verify with you. Although there are several large sanctuaries on Blue Star, they're not connected to each other, right? Even the network we normally use is just a local network within the sanctuary. Correct. Detective Victor doesn't know why Marcus is asking this question, but still nods. You're right. Countless large-scale gods roam between the major sanctuaries. Human power can't pass through, and network connections can't be established. As for how the Coalition Council communicates between sanctuaries, this old man from the police station doesn't know. Marcus nods. Detective Victor, one more question. Where are you from? Hearing Marcus' question, Detective Victor's smile remains on his face, but the kindness in his eyes fades slightly. Marcus, what do you mean? Detective Victor, let me be clearer. Which sanctuary are you from? Or some unknown place? Anyway, you're not from this sanctuary, are you? Oh, and maybe I shouldn't call you Detective Victor because the real Detective Victor has never left this sanctuary. Detective Victor drops his smile. Marcus, your story is a bit too far-fetched, is it? Well, I happen to have another story to tell Detective Victor. 3 years ago, Awakened in the Sanctuary protested because the Coalition Council was testing Awakened within the Sanctuary too frequently. Sequence levels, sequence skills, everything had to be tested. This made Awakened feel extremely uneasy. So, under certain people's organization, large-scale